plaintiff, Zachary Kaufman, had a sexual relationship with the defendant. And 5 years later, they reconnected and started dating. And that's when she told him that her 5-year-old son was his child. He's suing her today for an unpaid bill and emotional distress. Defendant Daytona Whitlock admits she lied about the paternity of her child for the first 5 years of his life, but says she's countersuing for emotional distress because Zachary was unfaithful and he abandoned her and her son.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you, sir. Give me some background.
Okay, so me and Daytona Whitlock, we kind of met 5 years ago, but roughly about a year and a half ago, we actually started getting more intimate into our relationship, and she moved in with me and my mother. We had known each other, like I said, for approximately 5 years, and she told me that she had a child with one of my friends, one of my former friends, actually. But turns out that that child was actually mine, and so, I mean, this was fast forward like into the actual midst of the relationship while we were living together, moved out of mom's house. But like I said, we got into the relationship and it started getting just a little, messy, if you could say.
So how long after moving in did you find out the child was yours?
Roughly 2 months into living together.
Tell me how that went. How did she break that to you?
Well, she told me just kind of flat out one night. She came home drunk and she kind of just blurted it out. She was like, "Oh, by the way, this is your child." And it just kind of was like, what? So later on, kind of, started asking questions more so when she was sober, and kind of got to the bottom of it. And we kind of narrowed the dates down, like in the past 5 years, because when we did meet, it was more of a sexual relationship. But when we started getting more intimate and less sexual, that's when more things started coming out. At that point, we started getting, heated conversations. She started, going out more and just hanging out with her friends instead of being in a place that we were both renting. And it just every time she came home, it was just rough. She would get in my face, I'd get in hers. I mean, it was heated conversations, and without trying to make it a physical contact relationship, I kind of just distanced myself. So she stayed with her friends for a little while and I stayed at the house. And when she would come, I mean, every time she would come, it would just be, push to shove, and, she'd be in the kitchen or I'd be in the living room, and here comes the
So y'all apart. Are you paying your child support?
No, sir.
Does he call you daddy?
No. I mean, it's right now, we're trying to transition into that. He's 5 years old. So, but
how long has it been? You said 2 months after moving in, but how long has it been? A year ago?
It's been almost a year now. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, to the day, he's probably, still a little confused on what's going on.
Yeah.
But,
Yep. Does the other guy come by?
No, sir, he does not.
Did he ever in the past?
No, he was never present.
Ma'am, let me hear from you.
So, backtrack. Yes, Zach and I met 5 years ago, and it was more of a sexual relationship. Yes, I did throw at him that he does have a child years after my child was born.
Had you told anyone else?
No.
Who did you know? You told no one who the baby's father was. No one in the world. Pardon?
No.
Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. No one in the world. When they say, whose baby is it? What would you say?
I said, I don't know. Stork delivered him to the front door.
This isn't a game. I see you think it's a game. You've traumatized your young baby. Traumatize him. Got him confused about whether that's his daddy or somebody else. Been claiming you don't know. Right to your child. I don't know who your daddy is. Every other 5-year-old, I got a daddy. I'm in school, preschool, on the block, visiting. I got a daddy. All the other kids that said, what's your daddy name? I don't know. My mama won't tell me. Or she don't know. So if she don't know, I don't know. All the little kids, he don't know who his daddy is. That's what you made him go through? Wow, and now you're coming here grinning about it? Grinning about it? I hope you get in there and hang in there strongly, because at this point, she has demonstrated she is a horrible mother who's willing to traumatize her son for her own selfish reasons and for her own feelings. Yes. So I hope you get involved strongly in this child's life, because if this is the type of mother this child is going to continue to have, this child is going to have problems more than the child already has. I know you didn't want to admit the child has problems. That's why you said the child is confused. No, it's not confused. That child is traumatized. Ain't no confused. You know the baby is traumatized by that. Go ahead, sir. What's the bill that has gone unpaid other than your child support? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. It was, I'm being sued for roughly $5,000 for Backpay on rent, because I had originally moved out, like I said, 2 months into the actual lease agreement. But then I went and got my name notarized on a piece of paper saying that it was supposed to take me off the lease. And I gave that to her because the reason I was leaving was due to the physical violence and the mental and, emotional abuse, not knowing where she was going, what she was doing. And when she got actually, back to the house, like I said, it was a spitting and fussing in each other's faces. But yes, sir, $5,000.
That's all you caring about is your little feelings too. Come on, talking about, that's the reason we broke up, because she kept coming home late. This woman has totally deceived you and traumatized your child. And all you're talking about is this little petty relationship. It's petty. It's very petty. Go ahead, sir. The relationship is petty. And the child is valuable. Go ahead. So, 2 months, then you moved out. Then you had asked her to transfer it over into her name, your portion of the lease. Did she agree to do it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And tell me what has happened since then, since she agreed to do it.
Since then, I had moved out and I moved in with a friend of mine, and I just had been kind of sleeping on his couch. But like you said, this child is, a big factor in all of what's going on right now.
Ma'am, what do you want to say about the unpaid bill he's suing you for?
I feel like I don't owe him anything, and that this is he shouldn't be suing me because he abandoned me and my child. And
now you care about the child. Go ahead.
Well, he was sleeping around the entire time, so that's why it did get physical, and I was leaving was because he was sleeping around, and I did catch him cheating on me and sleeping with multiple women, and so I just felt like I didn't I was neglected.
Is that before or after you traumatized your 5-year-old? Was it before or after? It was after?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the move out, you never agreed to pay, sir?
I did initially agree to go full term with the lease, but like I said, I initially got my name notarized to be taken off the lease, and I had left that for her.
She doesn't have the authority to do that. The landlord has to do that. She can't take the name off the lease. If your name was on the lease, it was put on there by the landlord. If she approved it and took it to the landlord still would have the option of saying, nah, I don't want to leave it up to her. Did a substitute roommate ever come into discussion by either you or her saying, we'll get somebody else to step in and pay your share? Get a new roommate. Was that ever discussed? No? You never suggested it either? All right, because, sir, you must recommend some replacement roommates within a reasonable amount of time when you break a lease. So...
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
so, like, with all the cheating, whenever you said it wasn't before or after, it was actually more like both. Before, it was also before, like within like that 5 years, like while I had my 5-year-old, before I told him that he, like, my best friend even caught him with another female in our car. I mean, he's a sex addict. Like, point blank period. That man is a sex addict.
Except for on you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, how you know he an addict then?
I mean,
He might not like sex at all just because he's not doing your thing, huh?
He was sending very racy pictures. He was receiving them.
Okay.
And I mean,
But let me tell you this. Let me say this, ma'am. How old are you, ma'am?
24.
Yeah.
20.
I know that this generation in particular are kind of self-consumed. You're probably taking selfies while your baby running around. But the point I'm about to make is what I'm just heard from you again. All it related to was you all's relationship. I am totally unconcerned with that. Totally. I am consumed, as you should be, with the welfare of your child. He's not going to get, it appears, the money for the rent because he didn't get a replacement roommate, and only the landlord can sign off and let him off the lease. And we're getting to your counterclaim. How does he owe you $3,000, ma'am?
For abandoning our child after whenever he left, and myself, and for all of the cheating.
I'll get him. I'm going to walk off this bench, ma'am. You want to sue the man for abandoning the child that you deceived him about for the first 5 years of the child's life. Your judgment for emotional distress is granted. You were deceived. That was outrageous. That was very extreme. And him not being with the child, you want $3,000 for that. I'm going to run off the bench so I don't say anything disrespectful, but your claim is dismissed.
You know, I've been torn down, beaten, and mistreated.
You chose to leave on your own. It wasn't that I told you to leave. You left on your own. So that way, so therefore you abandoned us.